Hi, welcome to the Recovery Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abbasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. And today I want to talk about relaxing into focus. This is something that I heard in my morning meeting. We had the meditation meeting this morning. So we listened to Tamara on the Calm app, and she mentioned something about relaxing into focus versus tightening around it. And I thought, oh my gosh, that I can totally relate to that. And then what I wanted to tie in today is managing chronic pain. And we'll see how that all squeezes out of me tonight because that's the topic this morning. But like yesterday, I took my Emgality injection, which is a monthly injection that I put in my stomach to manage my chronic migraines, my daily migraines. And it's right at the end of the month that this crossover into the next month where I start having a lot of head pain. I have sharp pains in my head. The headache just is more pronounced, and all the other symptoms, which is still hard for me to describe, but it's like I can't focus on anything, visually focus on anything. And then the more that all of this pain gets worse, then I can't mentally focus on anything. So it's a lot. It's a lot to describe, and as you know, I've always been a little challenged trying to explain it. Maybe I try too hard to explain it. Maybe I need to just relax. And anyway, so I want to talk about some of this stuff. And what Tamara brought up this morning is the idea of complete mental absorption. And I could immediately relate because when I was working, I would be so wrapped up, absorbed in whatever task I was working on that if somebody were to walk in the room and say the building was on fire, I wouldn't even hear it. I was just so completely able to tune everything else out. And but I would equate it not as relaxing into focus. I was tightening around it. So much that, and I know that you know what I'm talking about, where you're working on something on the computer or on your phone, and you just keep moving in closer and closer to the screen. And that's when your shoulders get tighter and tighter and your neck gets tighter and tighter. And gosh, doesn't that start bringing us chronic pain? I mean, that's where a lot of my neck and shoulder pain was living because I was just tightening around my focus. So let's talk about relaxing into focus. So complete mental absorption is a state where we're entirely focused on a task or activity to the point where everything else fades in the background. And this level of concentration can be incredibly therapeutic. It can be a form of meditation, especially for people in recovery or dealing with chronic pain, people that are under a lot of stress and need to relax. But there's a difference between relaxing into focus and tightening around it. And what Tamara compared it to, which I loved, was like holding a kitten. And you don't want to hold the kitten too tight because it will squirm and try to get free. But if you hold it too loosely, you're going to drop it, right? So the same principle applies to our focus. We need to find a balance where we are fully engaged and relaxed into what it is we're focusing on, but not straining to remain focused, straining to isolate and push ourselves to the point of stress, increased stress. So one of the things that I've learned from meditation and vestibular therapy is how to relax and to focus. When we're tightening around our focus, like when I was working, I was creating tension, which was exacerbating my pain and my stress. And instead, what I'm learning in recovery is how to relax into my focus. And that means allowing my mind to settle naturally into an activity without forcing it. And it's finding a gentle and sustained attention that feels more like an embrace than a grip. I think that it's difficult to gain that level of attention when you're working. I think it is a battle. It is a battle. And what I think when you're working, because I did it for many years, I think when you're working, it requires breaks. It requires breaks. It requires prioritization. It requires working on one thing at a time. It requires some of these focal tools that are provided on digital devices. Some of these tools are what I've been able to use in order to minimize my head triggering if I want to do something like write. So perfect example is that Microsoft Word has a focus mode. So it really just turns off everything else on your computer as far as notifying you, takes up the whole screen, and that's it. That's for me relaxed focus. If I'm working on something in Microsoft Word, but I've got everything else dinging around the screen, that is me tightening into focus. I hope that makes sense. It certainly makes sense to me. It brings back lots of stressful memories of trying to just pull into my computer. It's like, if I could have, I would have just jumped through the freaking screen and just swam around in there, because I just could not push myself tighter and tighter into that focus. But if I turn on today, now that I have time to manage time, more time to manage time, I'm able to notice what happens to me if I work on something in focus mode in Microsoft Word, and if I work on something not in focus mode in Microsoft Word. Now, what I'm noticing is physical triggers, but that are associated with my chronic pain. But I think it is a clear representation, one-to-one, of what happens inside of us when we do the relaxing into focus versus tightening into focus. So I think it's a pretty cool thing to think about. Unfortunately, I'm not working anymore, so it's a little too late for me to realize this, but it's not. Back when I was working, I did realize this. I knew that I was tightening in to focus, and I didn't stop myself because I felt like the faster and the more that I was able to accomplish, the more successful I was going to be. And that was my own self-talk that created that story in my head. That wasn't true. I could have been just as successful while also relaxing into focus. So living with chronic pain, it requires me to take this kind of approach. And it's interesting to look at it from this perspective because I feel like maybe talking about it may be able to resonate with people who aren't living with chronic pain, but are living with chronic stress, because that chronic stress is a physical reaction as much as chronic pain is. And it can be as debilitating as chronic pain. It can. I mean, I have had stress to the point where I had an ulcer. I wasn't eating. This was years ago, but stress can do incredible things to our body. And I can't help but feel like it's very similar. So some techniques that help me today in recovery that might help people who live with chronic stress are, number one, meditation. I know when I was working, I did not have time for meditation, but when I started getting into the habit of using my watch, if you have an Apple Watch, there's like a 1 minute breathing thing that it can remind you to breathe like once every hour well, it never failed when it would come on to remind me to breathe. I was in the bathroom. And I actually would just stop because I was in the bathroom. So it wasn't like I was stopping anything important. I would just sit for a minute and I would close my eyes and I would breathe because it was what better place to do it. When I started doing that, I found that when I left the bathroom, I felt a little more relaxed. And I think it's important to continue to urge people that meditation does not have to be 20 minutes long. A meditation can be 1 minute. I've talked about the one breath meditation, the deep breath. I truly believe that is a meditation because I am, for one breath, I am wiping away the entire universe and I'm focusing on that air that's entering into me. And I'm letting the air go. And for that one breath, nothing exists but me and that oxygen that's coming inside of me. It's like a grounding technique. And even though it only is for one breath, it is an amazing way of training the mind to relax into focus. And it teaches us to observe the sensations in our body. And with it being so short, it's so easy to do. And it relieved my stress. It did. And I still do it today. I was out walking Boris, the bulldog, this evening, and I did an audible sigh. I was just talking to my daughter about audible sighs recently, too. I did an audible sigh, which is that breath in but I'm actually making noise when I exhale, the and if you Google it, apparently this does something for our stress response and starts to alleviate some of that stress. So that's one thing, meditation. And I don't want, when I say meditation, for people to be like, I don't have time to lay on the ground for 20 minutes during my day. I don't have time to, isolate myself for 20 minutes. It doesn't, you don't have to. You really don't. And I only know that because I did it. I did these little itty bitty meditations everywhere in the office, all the time. And it worked for me. It really did, start to train my mind and how to relax into focus. The next one that I am learning, the next technique is this vestibular therapy. This vestibular therapy is teaching me different things about the way I move. So I'm going there to work on my vision and my balance. But what I'm learning, almost like I went to AA to learn how to stop drinking, and I keep going to AA to learn how to live. It's the same thing. I went to vestibular therapy to get rid of my symptoms, and I keep going to vestibular therapy so that I can learn how to live with my symptoms. And some of the ways that it teaches me how to live is to slow down. The other day, yesterday, I was in the kitchen with my husband and I was holding something in my hand and I dropped it, which happens a lot these days. And what it means is that I'm doing too much. When I'm holding something and I drop it, it means that I'm mentally doing too much. And I don't want to go into that, but it's a multitasking thing for people that have brain damage. So the next thing, within 30 seconds, I bent over to get an onion out of from the under cabinet. And when I was coming up, I hit my head on the granite countertop. And luckily, I hit my head in a place where it is nice and thick because I don't even feel it bruised, but I hit it really hard, unless I'm not feeling in the right place. But I hit it really hard and I just went, oh, what is happening? That's what I said. And my husband responded, slow down. When these things are happening, slow down. And that's exactly what I needed. That's what I needed to do, was slow down. Not only did I need to slow down, but I needed somebody to tell me to slow down because I can't think of that on my own. And that I've never been able to think about that on my own. My boss used to tell me to slow down. Actually, he would tell me to not respond to things right away. Slow down, think about it, go back and look at it again, that kind of thing. It's all the same thing. This way of slowing down is allowing me to adapt to my environment with the situation, that I'm in, my physical capabilities that I'm in. When I slow down, I start relaxing into whatever activity I'm doing. When I'm doing things like dropping things, bumping my head, I'm tightening around what it is I want to do. I'm tightening around it in a way that I start working faster and I start trying to do as much as possible, as quick as possible. That's me tightening around it. So slowing down, taking a breath, like there's a trend here, you know. Another thing that I'm learning in recovery is self massage and relaxation. I was just sitting on the couch this evening while my husband was reading the news. That's what we do. He reads the news to me, and we talk about current events like an old couple. And I love it. That's because we can't watch TV. So that is our activity. And I love it. I hope he loves it as much as I do. But what I was doing while he was reading it is I was massaging my head. So my vestibular therapist taught me some different techniques for how to massage my scalp. And she told me about the kind of physical makeup of what's going on in our scalp. Like when we rub our scalp, what is releasing? And she explained all of that to me. So I just sat on the couch and was relieving some of that muscle tension that I have. And it was actually subsiding some of that headache. Um, the headache is still there, but it subsides slightly. It becomes background noise instead of really just in my face pain when I sit back and I relax and I slow down and I massage my head. So deep breathing and doing this muscle relaxation. There we go. All of this is allowing me to, same thing, you know, just sink into what it is that I want to be paying attention to instead of tightening. It's just amazing when I think back of everything that I've done in my life and how much I grip a hold of it. Everything I do, I'm like gripping a hold of it. Everything. And it's just nice now in recovery to start getting to experience this relaxation side of still being successful, still getting things done, but being able to be more patient with myself and wait. It's like me waiting for me. You know, I used to be me waiting for me to catch up. And now it's like I'm walking beside me, you know, if that makes any sense. So, and then finally that sigh, and I mentioned that earlier around the deep breath. Just taking that deep breath and sighing it out can be a surprisingly large amount of release of tension. I'm having a difficult time finding my words. So the breath thing is really a quick and easy way of resetting. So one of the ways that that I apply this is, you know, sometimes I can feel myself tightening around something that I'm doing. And the best thing I can do for myself to reset is to stand up and walk away for 1 minute. And that 1 minute can equal that minute of meditation where I'm breathing. But if I actually walk away and tell myself to slow down, then I'm more effective at slowing down than if I stay and I keep doing what I'm doing, but I just try to do it slower, you know? It helps to step away, take a breath, be like, okay, I am going to slow down. I mean, that's what it looks like for me. I have got to like talk to myself and say things out loud because otherwise I just am Speedy Gonzalez. Do you remember Speedy Gonzalez? That's what I am. Just constantly. So I really have to make a big deal out of slowing down. And I have found that this way of slowing down is also helping me to manage my chronic pain. So whether slowing down means I stop doing what I'm doing altogether for the day because I can't reset, and instead I decide to go lay down and take a nap, then in recovery, that's what I get to do. But if it means like sometimes I don't want to take a nap, sometimes I'm feeling very anxious and stressed out, and I can't go take a nap because I'm worried about something, whether it's insurance, my doctors, my kids, whatever it is that I'm worried, I can't sleep. So there are alternative ways for me to relax and to focus. One would be to listen to a book. And I did finish the book that I promised I would finish yesterday. I did finish it actually this morning, and I love it. Educated, I thought it was such a good book. And actually, one of our listeners sent me a long message with a great response to the book. Also, just a lot of positive feedback and lessons that she enjoyed getting from the book as well. So thank you for sending me that feedback too. So listening to books, I started another book today. It's called The Woman in the Window. There's a movie about it. So I'm listening to that, and it seems pretty wacko, but pretty good too. Other ways that I can relax into focus, or at least practice relaxing into focus, is to work on some of my projects. I just started a new project and it's kind of humorous, but I will, cat's out of the bag. Let me tell you what it is. I'm showing it on the screen. This is a bra insert, okay? And I'm on a Facebook group that it does upcycling and repurpose. So somebody had some of these and said, what can I do with these? And there was lots of different responses. That's what you do in this group. You like say, I have this extra knick-knack. What can I do to upcycle it? Well, somebody said you can make them into oven mitts. That's what they said. So anyway, that is what I'm doing. I'm making them into oven mitts. So I have this material, which is some material my mom gave me. It's blueberries. And I'm making them into oven mitts. And I did a practice one here that yeah, like that. See, and it's got a little hand grip and a little thumb grip. It did not turn out perfect, so I'm gonna try it again, but it's cute. I mean, it's actually kind of cute, and it's like the perfect size gripper. So that's what I'm working on, and this is one of the things that I do to help me relax into focus when I'm stressed out about any of the many things that the uncertainty of my life and stuff like that. I sink into a lot of these projects, and it's very relaxing for me to engage in these hobbies. I have to be careful that I don't tighten around it, because when I'm tightening around one of these things, I will trigger my symptoms. And that's the last thing I want to be doing, is triggering my chronic pain when I'm trying to relax. But if I can relax into focus and work on some of these things for brief periods of time, It gives me a sense of accomplishment, which does wonders for me, really, to finish things. So I need to continue to engage, but find that balance without overexerting myself. So managing chronic pain, complete mental absorption, that's a hard word for me today, and relaxing into focus. It's a lot of kind of disjointed topics, really, but they have something to do with each other, you know. And I think the idea about holding the kitten really helps me to relax, is to think about whatever I'm working on as a kitten, you know. So incorporating breathing, little tiny meditations, I do that the best. I do my 10-minute meditations with the Calm app, but I really like those little breaths. Those are important to me. And the other relaxation techniques that I went over here. So it's really learning how to continue to get gentle with myself and learn how to sustain attention without triggering some of my pain. So that's what I've got for you today. I hope that maybe this helped some folks who are out there still working in their careers and have a hard time like I did, tightening around my focus. I was always doing that. So I've learned a lot in recovery, and I hope to apply it in whatever way I can in my life now. So thanks for joining me today on Recovery Daily Podcast. I will talk to you tomorrow.